This
So
conference will now be recorded.
today we will again relook at the advantage of the reflex ratio, and we have discussed in the last class that the reflex ratio has the advantages, certain advantages. So let us see what are the advantages it has. Yeah. So you know that the in a continuous distillation column, the reflux should be there, and we have also estimated the minimum reflux ratio, and we have also done one problem stating that how to estimate the reflux ratio for the ideal conditions. And you can this particular diagram will explain uh, how the minimum reflux ratio can be estimated. And let us discuss again very briefly to know about that. And see, you have a the enrichment operating line, enrichment section operating line, and when R is it's a reflux ratio. When R is decreased, the slope of the operating line, that is the enrichment section operating line, uh, which is also equal to R by R plus 1, will decrease. It will be go on decreasing, and then finally it will intersect the equilibrium line. On Q line, you can just draw towards the equilibrium line, then it will intersect. It will intersect at a particular point. That point is called pinch point. So this is how you will get the pinch point. And again, if you just decrease the slope, then it will reach and coincide with the 45 degrees line. So you can just say that this is the maximum reflex, that is called the total reflex. This will be the minimum reflex. So you know how to estimate the minimum reflex as well as the total reflex, because the total reflex, you can say that the 45 degrees diagonal line would be the your operating line, whereas for the minimum reflex ratio, it passes through the pinch point. So the pinch point is the point where all the three, feed line and operating line, the equilibrium, all three lines will intersect each other. So this will limit. In between only you have to have the reflex ratio. So in the last class, I gave you the exercise that how to estimate the minimum reflex ratio for a particular case. Before that, let us see how the minimum reflex ratio will be estimated for a particular feed condition. For example, feed condition is this one. You know, this is the saturated vapor plus saturated liquid. So for that case, you know how to draw the xd by r plus 1 intercept, or you can also find out this slope. So this r will become r minimum, this r will also become r minimum. This is the xd by r plus 1 is the intercept at a minimum reflex ratio. Then this will become r minimum by r minimum plus 1. So you know the operating line will have this slope. This operating line equation is this one. So you know this is the slope. So r can be replaced with r minimum, whereas your xn can be replaced with x star. This is the value with intersecting, and then y n plus 1 can be uh, replaced with y star. So you can able to find out by knowing the feed condition, feed composition, this x star and y star. So in R minimum, you can just substitute, because y star and x star is falling on operating line. So you can find out the slope of R minimum from the slope, or from this equation. When you substitute those values and readjust, then you will get R minimum is equal to xd minus y star divided by y star minus x. So you know y star x, and xd is the product quality. So R does depend on the product quality, and also you can say that xf, and then you can also say the type of the feed, type of the feed, then again you can also say that the composition of the feed or the system, because the equilibrium diagram is a resultant of the alpha, that is a system property. Because alpha varies, then it may come like this, or alpha is very high, this may go like this also. So if you see the R value will depend on XD, XF, then Q, that is the feed condition, then again the system alpha values. So if you know all those things, you can substitute here and find out the R minimum in this equation. So R minimum can be XD minus Y star divided by Y star minus X star. So they will be getting from this particular diagram, you can able to find out the minimum reflex. So that gives the lowest reflex ratio which is required in the operation for a given system. Then if you take an ideal case, as I have given one of the exercise to you, the calculation of the minimum reflex ratio for an ideal case. What is the ideal case? Ideal case is we should require, we should get or we should obtain the 100% separation of the components. So XD1 means 100% of the more volatile component is obtained in the top product. It is not possible, but however we will assume that. So if you get 100% of more volatile component in the distillate, then your XD will become 1. Then the type of the feed is saturated liquid, because usually the saturated liquid in the process industries is called ideal feed, because it doesn't change the liquid stream. So and vapor, saturated vapor requires the very high energies. So we will usually say that saturated liquid is the ideal feed. Then the ideal feed and ideal separation, both are combination of these two, called the ideal case. Under such ideal case, take the same equation which you have derived here. R minimum is equal to XD minus Y star by Y star minus X star. So take that equation. Now here you can, because it is a saturated liquid, it will go up. So you can say that your X star will become XF, your Y star will become YF, because YF is the equilibrium value with the XF. So both are related with this one at a constant alpha of the system. If alpha is constant, then you'll get this equation. And this is from the previous derivation. Now you can substitute this one in this equation so that you will get this one. So this is what exactly I want you to do that. So for YF, if you substitute this one in this equation, then you'll get R minimum is equal to 1 divided by alpha minus 1 XF. So it says that the minimum reflex ratio required for a dilute feed. Dilute feed means if the feed concentration in terms of the more volatile component is very less, then you should require more minimum reflex ratio. If XF is more, then the R minimum will be less. If XF is less, R minimum will be more. So there will be inversely proportional between these two. Similarly, you can also see that alpha is the relative volatility. If the relative volatility of the system increases, then the R minimum which requires in the operation will be very less. If alpha is very high, you see there is no necessity of the reflex ratio. That is how we should understand, because we have derived that for which system the batch distillation can be selected, or for which system the equilibrium distillation can be selected, the system which is having more alpha. The reason is for that the reflex ratio is not required. You need not to send back the liquid as a reflex, because alpha is very high. So you can understand from this equation how minimum reflex ratio does depend on the system as well as the concentration of the more volatile component in the feed. So this will be very much useful to estimate or to analyze the particular given system. And then coming to the total reflex conditions, what do you mean by total reflex conditions? Because we know the enrichment section is having this equation. What is this equation? Including the condenser, if you just find out the overall material balance, then Vn plus 1 is equal to Ln plus D. This is the overall material balance. Because to this system, enrichment system, excluding the feed tray, then the vapor enters and the liquid will come down. So this is the vapor which is entering, that will be split into the liquid which is entering into the column, and the distillate which is withdrawn. So you all of you know that the reflex ratio is defined as Ln by D. That means how much of liquid has been sent back per 1 mole of the distillate withdrawn. So you can say that if you withdraw the D, then there will be certain reflex. But if you don't withdraw any distillate, then all the reflex, all the condensate will be sent back as the reflex. All the condensate which is obtained will be sent back as the liquid reflex. So under such conditions, then you can call it as a total reflex conditions. So what is the R in that case? R will be, because when the D is 0, your R will be infinite, because R is equal to Ln by D. So R will become infinite. So if the reflex ratio is infinite, then you can say that total reflex condition is prevailing in the distillation column. So in under such condition, and see, the operating line merges with 45 degrees diagonal line. So the maximum possible distance between the equilibrium curve and operating line will be found under the total reflex conditions. Whereas if the reflex is decreasing, then it will go towards the equilibrium line. Then the you can see that this number of plates will be very less. That means a minimum number of plates will result under total reflex conditions. So the number of plates increases when the reflex ratio is decreasing. When the reflex ratio is decreasing means it is going towards the equilibrium line. So number of plates increases. So the maximum number of plates, that is a infinite number of plates, will result at the pinch point. So we are not considering that is a desirable operation. We have to avoid the pinch point. As well as here also, the minimum reflex condition will be obtained. So more than the minimum reflex we have to maintain in the distillation column. Similarly, here you can see that in the highest side, the maximum reflex ratio is infinite. So that is the operating line coincides with the 45 degrees diagonal line, and the number of plates will fall to the minimum. So the minimum number of plates will result. That says that, for example, for a given system, if you are given XD and XW, the system gives the XY data, and you know the total reflex condition, the operating line will be 45 degrees diagonal line on XY diagram, that is called Mercaptan diagram. Then you know the distillate quality XD and the residue quality XW. So XD, XW are specifications for the separation of a system which is given to you. Then that you can just see how many minimum number of plates are required for such a system. If those number of plates are very high, and you can also do the some cost estimation based on the minimum number of plates, then you can if it is coming like very high cost, operating cost, then you can just forget about the distillation operation. You can see any alternative operation by which that separation can be done. For example, if you see that it is very close here, then the minimum number of plates itself is very high, then maybe the continuous distillation may not be feasible for such type of systems. So such type of systems you have to go for a alternative method. So whether the distillation will work out or not can be known at this by maintaining the or by doing a little calculations at a total reflex conditions. So at total reflex conditions, the minimum number of theoretical stages n minimum can be calculated by the using the Penske's equation, and this is the Penske equation. So which we will derive now. We will see how it can be derived. So this equation will give that how many minimum number of plates are required to separate a system with XD as the quality of the product, XW is the quality of the residue, and having a alpha as a system relative volatility. So that is how we can able to estimate the minimum number of plates. So this minimum number of plates indicates us that the system is the feasible by separating by using the distillation or not. Okay, so let us see how this Penske equation can be derived. So we have to make in the Penske's equation two assumptions. If the no product is withdrawn from the still, that means D is equal to 0, the column is said to operate under total reflex conditions. And as seen from the equation, the top operating line has its maximum slope of unity, because slope will become 1 and coincide with the line x is equal to y, that is the 45 degrees line. So you can write down the operating line equation for the entire system, because there is no feed effect on the total reflex conditions, because the flow rates having no effect, because it is coming and coinciding with the 45 degrees diagonal line. So typically the liquid flow rate and the vapor flow rate will become equal, in the bottom section and also top section. Whatever feed you take, it is immaterial, but it will happen that, and whatever composition of the XF is there, doesn't matter, it will happen. The liquid flow rate which is flowing down will be equal to the vapor flow rate. In the reboiler itself, it will get adjusted that that much of the vapor is generated and that much of liquid is sent. So you can see that the heat requirements also, and the same heat will be removed here. So you will get a very typical type of situation in the continuous distillation column that gives this as an operating line. So yn plus 1. What is the yn plus 1? All the vapor composition values which are entering into that particular tray will be equal to the liquid compositions which is entering into the same tray. For example, if you take the stage 1, then you will get n is equal to 1, then y2 is equal to x1. That happens. Y2 means the vapor which is entering from the second stage to the first stage, and the liquid which is coming to the first stage to the second stage. So that is how the y2 is equal to x1 will happen in case of the total reflex conditions. And again we know equilibrium relation. What is the equilibrium relation? Equilibrium relation for a binary system is equal to alpha, which is equal to the mole fraction ratios in the vapor of the two components, more volatile to the low volatile, divided by the compositions of the more volatile component to the less volatile component ratios in the liquid phase. So this by this will be as per the definition of the relative volatility, you will get alpha. So alpha value at different n indicates the each stages. So the alpha varies stage to stage. Then you will get this is the equilibrium relation which you will get. This is the operating line equation. So typically they represents this one. So this is y is equal to x, that is yn plus 1 is equal to xn, and this gives that is 1 minus yn, yn by 1 minus yn is equal to alpha n into xn by 1 minus xn. That is the equilibrium. Okay, so this equation will result. This is the operating line equation. This is the equivalent line equation. You can please note down that. Then coming to the first stage, let us take a first stage. That means n will become 1. Or you can say that it is coming from the total condenser. So let us say for first case, the total condenser, that is a, then when you can put the n is equal to 0, then y1 is equal to x0, then that gives the xd. Because under the total reflex conditions, whatever vapor is entering into the condenser, whole vapor get condenses, then that will be sent back. So for example, if you say this is the stage 1, then the vapor which is leaving the stage will have y1, the liquid which is entering into the stage will have x0. Then this is the relation, y1 is equal to x0, which is equal to xd. So this equation will result over this tray. Over this tray, this equation will result. Now coming to the on the stage, there will be equivalent between y1 and x1. So this is the equivalent relation between the y1 and x1 that will result over the stage 1. Okay, this is how you can write down for the stage 1 and stage 2, stage 3, like that you can go on writing. Then if you simplify this one, you know that the y1 is equal to xd, because y1 is equal to x0 is equal to xd. So you can write down xd by 1 minus xd is equal to alpha 1 x1 1 minus x1. So you will get this equation, and this equation again coming down here over the stage 2, then you have y2 is equal to x1. So when you put n is equal to 1 after crossing the first stage, then you will get the y2 is equal to x1, because yn plus 1 is equal to xn. So when you put n is equal to 1 for the stage 1 over the stage 2, then y2 is equal to x1 will result. Then this can be in the above equation which you have got here, x1 can be replaced with y2. Therefore you will get an equation like 1 minus y2 minus 1 minus y2 is equal to alpha 2 x2 by 1 minus x2. Then you can substitute your y2 as x1, and then x1 in place of the x1 again you can substitute this one, and finally you'll get y2 1 minus y2 is equal to alpha 1 into alpha 2 x2 by 1 minus x2. This equation will result. So I think everybody is understanding this one, because when you substitute in case of this one, so you will be, because y2 is equal to this one, because you know xd by 1 minus xd is equal to alpha 1, then y2 by 1 minus y2. So y2 by 1 minus y2 is again equal to this one, alpha into x2 by 1 minus x2. Therefore y2 by 1 minus y2, I think this is xd by 1 minus xd. Sorry, this you please correct it. xd by 1 minus xd is equal to alpha 1 into alpha 2 x2 by 1 minus x2. This equation will be obtained. So let us yeah, so you just make a correction. This is not y2, this is xd by 1 minus xd is equal to alpha 1 into alpha 2 x2 by 1 minus x2. So like that, if you go on doing x3, third stage, fourth stage, fifth stage, when you come to the nth stage, then you have a operating line equation, this one, then this will result. Then further, n plus 1th stage is a reboiler. In the reboiler, you will get again this equation. So here alpha 1 and alpha 2, alpha 3, you have a number of alphas which are starting from the first stage to the nth stage. So if you just take the average of all alpha values, average of all alpha values, which is the harmonic average, then you will get the alpha 1 into alpha 2 whole to the power of nm plus 1 will be obtained, because you have such alphas. So alpha average is equal to the harmonic mean alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, or you can put nm plus 1 root of this one. So like that you can take alphas are constant, then you have alpha average whole power nm plus 1 will be obtained here. The 1 is per reboiler and nm is the minimum number of plates which are required in the column. Then xd by 1 minus xd will give you alpha power nm plus 1 xw by 1 minus xw. So finally you'll get this equation. So this is by taking both sides logarithmic values, then you have nm plus 1 is equal to ln of this divided by ln alpha average. So that means by knowing the product and waste concentrations in terms of the more volatile component, and again alpha of the system alpha, you can able to find out the minimum number of plates which are required. So this equation is typically called the Fenski's equation. So here I have written this. This n minimum indicates reboiler also. So in place of nm plus 1, I have put nm only. So that is giving this one. So this is the Penske's equation, and where the alpha, which if at all alpha is varying, then you can take the alpha variations and take the alpha average like this alpha 1, or you can take at a high level, that is high means top of the column at a given temperature and pressure, one alpha value, and at the bottom, that means near to the reboiler another alpha value. Then you can take harmonic mean of the alpha will be given as alpha average. So that alpha average can be used to estimate the minimum number of plates. So this is how the minimum number of plates are used. And also you can know XW, XD, and if you are given Y versus X data, then simply draw this curve and take the 45 degrees diagonal line as a operating line, find out XD and XW, and in a step down method, find out how many number of stages, minimum number of stages are required. So this will give you a very quick estimation regarding the how many number of plates are required for a given system. So that is very much required before selecting the operation, whether the distillation is feasible or not can be seen by knowing the minimum number of plates. So now you have a total reflex condition and minimum reflex condition. So what is the total reflex condition? At the total reflex condition, the number of plates is a minimum, but the tower diameter is infinite. So you will get number of plates are minimum, but tower diameter will become infinite. This corresponds to an infinite cost of tower and steam and cooling water. This is the limit in the tower operation. So this is a one limit, and another one is a minimum reflex ratio. So number of trays is infinite, which again gives an infinite cost. So these are the two limits in the operation of the tower. For example, if you take this one and this one, in the both the cases cost is coming higher value. When you take the total cost, you are getting that. However, actual operating reflex ratio to use in the between these two limits, the optimum reflex ratio to use for lowest total cost per year is between the minimum reflex ratio and the total reflex ratio. So you can draw, you can see that as I told in the last class, starting from the minimum reflex ratio, because just above the minimum reflex ratio you have to take, so which will be having highest cost, as it is said here, the number of trays is infinite, therefore the cost will be very high. Then it is go on decreasing, the total cost will decrease when the reflex ratio is increasing. The reason is the total number of plates are decreasing. So it comes like this. Okay, so this is the fixed cost, that means equipment cost. Equipment cost will decrease, and if you have a higher reflex ratio, again your the bigger size of the condenser, bigger size of the reboiler have to be used. That's why a little increase is there at a higher reflex ratios. Okay, and similarly, if you see that operating cost, because of low reflex ratio, the condenser duty and reboiler duty will be very low. then the pumping cost also very low, then operating cost will be very low. Then when the reflux ratio is increasing, so you can see that the cost of heating and cooling and pumping will go on increases. So you have two different costs. This is the operating cost which is continuously increasing. This is the operating cost which is continuously decreasing. So when you take the total cost adding together, then you have a this type of curve. So it is coming to the lowest and again increasing. So this is the reflux ratio which can be used in the column, and you can also call that as a optimum reflux ratio. So optimum reflux ratio can be found from the cost estimations. However, as a thumb rule, it will be between these two, 1.2 of R minimum to 1.5 times of R minimum. So this will be in between these two values. So once you estimate, then to select the operating reflex ratio, then you can multiply either 1.5 with 1.5 or 1.2 or whatever is given in the problem. You can multiply with that and find out the actual reflex. Then you can proceed with the estimation of the actual number of plates which are required in the distillation. Okay, so this is how operating reflex ratio is obtained. But we have seen in all the cases that, and if you just observe the continuous distillation column, there is a continuous rectification due to the reflux only. So when the reflux is coming down, then you can see you will be having enrichment in the vapor phase, so that the concentrations will get enhanced in the distillate. So the reflux is having certain advantages. So you can also use these advantages in terms of the batch distillation. So when you take a batch of liquid in a drum, then you can heat it, then the vapor will be generated. These vapors will go up and get condensed. Then again from the condensate, you can send certain condensate as a reflux, and certain condensate can be withdrawn as a top product. So you can now have the contact between the vapor and liquid. Therefore, the enrichment will be taking place in the batch distillation also. So in a batch distillation with reflux, will be having more advantages, and it gives the enhanced quality in the distillate, so that in certain cases, even though the operation is delayed, but we will get the more pure distillate. So therefore, in a process industries, particularly where the batch operation is inevitable, then you have a batch distillation with some number of stages, because a drum, over the drum we are having a column. In that column, a fixed number of stages are maintained, either 3 or 4 number of stages are maintained. Now when you heat it, then it will be continuous. Like see here, we are having 1, 2, 3, 3 number of plates we have. So from the liquid, vapor will be generated, it goes, and the condensate will be sent back a reflux, it come down. So you have a liquid is L and vapor is V. Again we can assume constant molar overflows, because at each tray the liquid flow rate is same, at each tray the vapor flow rate is same. So that type of assumptions we can make. However, this condenser is a total condenser, then we can use the total condenser such that the distillate and the reflex and vapor which is entering into the condenser, and the distillate which is withdrawn, and the condensate which is sent as a reflex, all will have same composition. So that means if y1 is coming out, y1 is equal to, and x0 is entering into the first column, y1 is equal to x0 is equal to xd. So that is if somewhere it is written, you should understand that that is the total condenser condition. Don't confuse with the total condenser condition, total reflux condition. Total condenser condition is such that all the vapor will get condensed. All the vapor will get condensed, and we'll divide condensate into the two portions. So everybody should understand that. So such a equation will generate such type of system. The equations, let us say initially, if you don't have the what it is a column over it, trace over it, or stages over it, then the overall balance after the completion of the operation, maybe 8 hours or 4 hours, whatever time you give, after completion of that, then you can say that this much of feed is charged, and finally you'll get this much of waste, this much of the distillate. This is the overall material balance. Then again, if you do the more volatile component balance, then this is the equation which is obtained. And we have derived this equation, which is called Rayleigh equation, in a previous class, which gives that ln W by F is equal to x up to xw dxw by this one. This equation is obtained. So here you can see the xd is, usually if we take here, the xd is said to be a vapor, and if you take in here, this is said to be the liquid, because it is the whatever heat the vapor carries, that has been taken out in the condenser, cooled in the condenser, so it has become xd. So for example, this trace are not there, then this will become a Rayleigh equation. Rayleigh equation, and xd will become y value. Then we can find out the by doing this, like you can draw one line like this, that is a graphical integration 1 by y minus x versus x. Then the area under the curve between y and xw1, if xw is equal to xf, one value will be there. If xw is equal to xw2, that is another value will be there. So in between you can find out, and finally this fraction, how much of residue is left over for 1 mole of the feed, can be estimated from this one. So you do the material balance again and find out the subsequent xd values and d total, all those things, whichever is not given, you can able to find out. Maybe the distillate product or the, so that will be possible when this column is not there. If the column is there, then you will have a typically two type of operations. One operation is constant distillate composition, means see what happens in the batch distillation. When the distillation is continuing, so you see that there is a variation in the feed concentration, because it never be a feed, because feed is not continuously fed here. It is fed once, and then we are go on doing that. That means its concentration is go on reducing from xf to xw. It is go on reducing that value. And similarly here in the xd there will be variations. So there are variations in xd and xw, as well as distillate and w in a batch distillation. That's why it has become a batch distillation. Anyhow, finally we will take the w final and d final, which should be equal to the how much of feed which you have taken initially. So that is a batch distillation. So the values never be a constant. That's why it's called unsteady state operation. Unsteady state operation. With time, all values will change. Okay. So however, we have defined this equation for a initial to the final conditions. In between initial to the final condition, this has been integrated and finally we found. So if this is not there, your y value is equal to xd, and the xd is equal to y value in the Rayleigh equation, and your xw is equal to x, which is changing in the bottom column. So these are the two variations. So you can do integration. Finally, you can find out the graphical integration of the area under the curve can be estimated, and finally find out w by f fractions. But if you want to send some reflex back, then there will be xd will be continuously has to vary, or D has to vary. If the D is go on decreasing, then L by D, because the reflex ratio which you should maintain will be constant, isn't it? Or it should vary. Either it should be a constant or it should vary. So that's why there will be two conditions which can be prevailed. You can do the operation with constant distillate composition, XD constant for some time, or you can do the constant reflex, because the L value which is being sent, that should be made constant. Either this should be constant or this should be constant, so as to run this operation. So you have, for example, if you take this one where continuously the vapors are generated and the liquid is obtained, then a differential vapor which is obtained here will be equal to the differential liquid which is sent back, a differential distillate which is taken. So this is the equation which will result. The differential vapor which is generated from the used liquid which has been taken as a batch, from that you can see that dl and dd will be split, and that will be equal to dv. So this equation will result as a keeping an assumption that there will be no hold up in the distillation column, which is arranged over the batch drum. So you have a dv is equal to dl plus dd, and that can be in case of the material balance of one of the component. You can write down this one, d into x, w into xw will become a, x is a variable, it is continuously varies, and w is also varying, both will vary. So d wxw is equal to minus x d in xd into dd. This will result. So you can get this equation by re-existing this one. Then I see here, this is the thing which you have got after the re-existing this one, and this will be very important equation which you also get in the Rayleigh equation, and which says that W will be time dependent, because once you started observing the liquid quantity, that time let us say W1 is there, then the finally it will reaches to the W2. So W1 to W2, the liquid quantity is varying in the batch, because continuously the D is withdrawn and it will have a XD, and that may be a constant or variable. It depends on the how the reflex you are giving. Okay, are you getting me or not? So when you have the variation in W, then the quantity of XD minus XW also will vary. So this will be only possible to integrate. This equation can be possible to integrate when you keep xd as a constant. Okay, so if the xd is constant, then this can be continuously this can be integrated. This can be integrated. So you have this equation. This equation is analogous to the Rayleigh equation. So you can see that. So initially you have W1, and finally when you stop W2, so this divided by this will be equal to this one, where XD by XW can be varied. So this is possible when XD is constant. If XD is varying, then it cannot be used. This equation cannot be used. So there are two cases which will result, because in one case the final product quality you are keeping constant, in another case the final quality of the product you are varying. That means indirectly you are doing whether constant reflux or variable reflux. So let us see the both the conditions. If you have a constant reflux rate, then what will happen? See, you can just find out the XD, because you see in the distillate also XD may be a constant XD, but for if you keep the reflex ratio variable, then XD is constant. But if you are varying the the XD, then the reflex ratio will become constant. See, this is the case. When the constant reflex ratio is there, XD values will go on varying. So, for example, if you have 3 different plates, 1, 2, 3, then starting from this value, so the final XW will come here. For if you have, for any instant of time, your product quality which is varying is this much, then the residual quality will be this one for 3 number of plates. For example, XD comes down to another value here because XD is variable because you made the reflex rate constant. So if it is coming to here, then again you can draw a one line. How to draw this line? This line is having the slope of R by R plus 1. R is a reflex ratio. Which constant reflex ratio you are maintaining? For example, R is 2, then 2 by 3, that is the slope. So at XD is equal to this one, you draw the slope. Then again you can find out 1, 2, 3. So you can find out the XW. So for each XD, for having a constant reflex ratio, the corresponding XWs can be found out. So that can be noted down here. XW, for example, if you take XW, that also will give you the XD. Or if you take the XD, that will also give the XW. For 3 number of plates, this is a fixed number of plates and a constant reflex ratio. So starting from one value to another value, that means initial XF, that is XW value to the final XW value, you can find out different XD minus XW values. This is the XD, this is the XW value. So for this constant reflex ratio, then you can just tabulate all the values and find out 1 by XD minus XW. Then draw a curve. How to draw the curve? By doing the graphical integration, draw the curve. Then the area under the curve between the XW1 and XW2 will give you the value of ln W by W1. This value will be obtained. Then when you obtain this value, then the subsequent values of D and XD can be found out. How you can able to find out D and XD? Because initially you are having a W1 that will be equal to W2 plus D. Okay. And then another equation W1 and XW1 is equal to D into XD plus then W2 into XW2. So you know the certain values of XW1 and XW2, and W1 and W2 also known. You can find out your D and the subsequent the XD value can be found out, which can be taken as a cumulative average of XD can be taken as you have taken in the Rayleigh equation. That is how you can solve a problem under the constant reflex ratio. So this can be used. Okay. And similarly, if the variable reflex ratio is there, see, variable reflex ratio means the L value which is coming down is continuously varying. L value is no more constant. In the constant reflex ratio case, this is constant, but it is no more constant. It go on changes. So now, and to change the L, actually this vapor flow rate which is coming to the condenser, this vapor flow rate will also change. So vapor flow rate, liquid flow rate and distillate, both all will change. But what is a important one? XD is kept constant. XD is kept constant. So when you keep the XD constant, so your reflex ratios are to be varied. The reflex ratios are never be kept constant because they are go on changing. Okay. So this problem has become variable reflex ratio problem. So for the variable reflex ratio problem, so you can take a differential balance equation in the condenser as we have taken here. As you have taken in this case here, dV is equal to dl plus d. So same thing you can take, but keep in mind that your dV is never be a constant. So dV is equal to dd by 1 minus dl by dV, because this is changing. This is changing. So this and this all will change. What is the dl by dV? That is equal to r by r plus 1, because it is L by V. L by V is equal to reflex ratio by reflex ratio plus 1. This is a typically slope of the operating line. Therefore, the slope of the operating lines go on changes, and then this never be a constant. This has to be dealt in a different manner. So also you have to find out the vapor flow rate. So this vapor flow rate from this equation, if you say that, if you integrate that, initially there is no vapor and now you have got this much of vapor. So 0 to vapor, 0 to V, you can differentiate this one. And here in this equation, because you know that the dV is equal to, if you substitute here in this case, how do you get the dd? Dd will be obtained from this equation. You will get W1 xd minus xw and an integral part of this one. So this equation can be obtained from the material balance of the one more volatile component, also overall balance. So this equation and this equation will give this equation. So finally you have to solve this one to get the vapor flow rate. So to know the vapor flow rate, you have to find out this one. So what you have to do, you have to just fix one xd, which is to be maintained in the column, then find out different possible reflex ratios. Maybe you can have 1, 2, 3, like that. Many such reflex ratios can be found out. For example, initially this reflex ratio is there, and again 3 number of plates are there. So what is the xw? So xw will be starting from this value 1, 2, then 3. This is the xw. So tabulate your xd and xw values can be tabulated, because xd is constant anyhow, xw can be estimated. For next reflex ratio, reflex ratio means dl by dv also known. This is the dl by dv, because r by r plus 1 will give the dl by dv. So that is the slope. So second one also give for a 3 number of plates. This is the another xw. So you have to tabulate for different reflex ratios, means different r by r plus 1 values. What would be the xw value? Then find out xd by xw whole square and 1 minus dl by dv. dl by dv is r by r plus 1. This quantity can be estimated and 1 by this can be estimated. Then again you make a plot and find out the graphical integration, and that graphical integration will give that this quantity as area under the curve between xw1 and xw2, and that if you multiply with this one, then you'll get the vapor which is being generated entire operation. This is the vapor which has been condensed by the condenser during the operation. So in a variable reflex ratio and constant reflex ratio, this problem can be dealt. So you can also employ the controllers to keep xd constant. For example, you say here, if the xd is constant, then you find any variation in xd, what should change? The L should change. So reflex ratio should change. So such that it may decrease to keep the xd is constant. Then install a controller here. Or in the constant reflex ratio case, then L should be kept constant. Then install the controller here, and any change in the xd, and manipulate the L value such that the L by D should be constant. So like that, in a batch distillation with reflexor, you will find mostly the controllers in that. So this is how we can able to find out the required parameters in the constant reflux ratio with batch distillation, as well as the constant composition in the batch distillation with reflux. Okay. So hello, students. Hello, are you
Yes,
there?
sir.
Yeah, and we'll stop here and we'll do some problems. Okay, I will give you some problems. You please note down one problem and maybe can solve and send to me. Okay, and if you have any doubt, you please ask here. Hello, anybody is having any doubt regarding the batch distillation with reflux? Because this is very important nowadays. All of you are going for the pharma industries, and pharma industries will have mostly the batch operations. In the batch operations, you find this type of distillation columns. For example, if you see that any you can say a quantity of bio reactant mixture, because after bioreactions are having very long residence times. So any such type of mixture, for example, some of the acids are formed or any alcohol is formed during the fermentation method, and in the fermentation method the broth that is called a fermented broth, that is a reaction mixture. Once the reaction is completed, we have to separate the products and byproducts. How do you do that? Because a batch of you cannot continuously maintain the certain uh, the volume of this bioreactant mixture in the bioreactor. You have to keep at least a month or some days in the bioreactor. Then once that reaction, if you feel that completed, then you have to send for the separation. So in that case, batch operations only will be done. So from the batch operation, and you have to separate the one of the component, you have to definitely use the batch distillation operation. So batch distillation with reflux, maybe one plate, two plates, three plate columns, you are seeing in pharma industries. So this type of problems are very important, and you can understand the processes very easily. Okay. So now I'll give you a few problems. All of you please take pen and paper and note down initially the problems which I am reading, and later you can solve them. Okay. Yeah, please note down. Yeah, all of you please note down. A liquid mixture containing 60 mole percent acetone and 40 mole percent water is to be distilled differentially distilled differentially at 1 atmospheric pressure to vaporize 30 mole percent of the feed. Calculate the composition of the distillate and residue. Okay. I will write down here the XY data. I think everybody is able to see this, isn't it? I will write down here XY data. You please note down. So first column is X. Or 1 minute. I'll just write down the X and Y. Yes. First is X and second is Y. So note down these values. So 0, then you have here 0, then 0.1, then you have 0.755, then 0.2, then you have here 0.815, then you have your 0.3, and you are having 0.83, then 0.5, you are having 0.85, and 0.6, then you have your 0.86, and 0.8, then you have your 0.9, then you have your 0.9, then you have 0.935. Okay, then 1. Okay, yeah. So where X and Y refer to the mole fraction of the more volatile component in the liquid and in the vapor respectively. Okay, and in continuation of this problem, you can also write if equilibrium distillation is employed, to obtain forty to obtain 40 more percent of the feed, 40 more percent of the feed to be vaporized, or you can write down same 30 more percent of the feed to be vaporized, so that you can compare 30 more percent of the feed vaporized. So what would be the compositions of distillate and residue? Okay, So do this problem, and also you note down another problem. A liquid mixture containing 50 mole percent of 50 mole percent heptane and 50 mole percent octane. 50 mole percent heptane and 50 mole percent octane is distilled in a continuous fractionating column to a top product containing 95% heptane and a bottom product containing 94% octane. The feed enters at its boiling point. The reflux ratio used is 1.5 times the minimum. Estimate the theoretical number of plates required. Okay. So again, I'll give you the data here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
I missed the little part of the question, sir.
Which question?
Column.
This question only.
Yes, sir.
Again, I repeat again.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
A liquid mixture containing 50 mole percent heptane and 50 mole percent octane is distilled in a continuous fractionating column to a top product containing 95% heptane and a bottom product containing 94% octane. The feed enters at its boiling point. The reflux ratio used is 1.5 times the minimum. Estimate the theoretical number of plates required. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Please note down typing here. Okay, this is the data. Now you are open for the some questions. I've given the two problems, and these two problems, and two means total three problems as an exercise, and you please do and submit by tomorrow before 5 o'clock. Okay. So the file name of the material which you are sending is your roll number, and in the bracket you write exercise of class 4, exercise 4, so that I can put all the material in the same file from whomever I'm receiving. I can keep record in a single file as the exercise 4. Okay, so please do that, and don't send without any file name, or like assignment 4 or exercise 4, like that. You don't send. You send roll number in the bracket exercise 4. Okay, so now yeah, anybody can just put their doubts, so that I can answer you. Okay.